So greetings from Travel Daily, and in our Inspiring Women in Travel Asia series, we welcome today Vinita Rashinkar. Vinita is sitting in India right now, but is certainly a woman of the world and a woman of the travel world. So Vinita, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Namaste, Caroline.
Namaste.
Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I am so delighted to be here with you today. Just a little bit about myself. I have a PR company which deals largely with tourism PR. We handle international markets for state and national tourism boards. I started off my career with banking. And then I moved on to the hospitality industry. And then I started my own venture in Germany in 2015, which was a wellness business where we were offering Ayurveda and yoga and allied Indian philosophies. But for a variety of reasons which were beyond my control, I had to wind that up and come back to India. And at that time, I found that there was this lacuna where the states were looking for representation abroad, not in the sense of representation, but in terms of someone to do their international PR and marketing. Mm-hmm. So I found this vacuum and I was able to enter it and utilize all that I had learned in the 20 years of my career and put it into practice. So today, I represent a couple of Indian states, including Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka, and many other states for whom I do piecemeal work. And I'm happy to say that I'm in a position to offer a lot of other women in smaller towns opportunities to work from home for me. So, for example, I have someone from Haryana, I have someone from Bhopal. So these young girls, I'm trying to bring them into the fold of tourism and tourism marketing and PR.
Well, that sounds fascinating. I mean, let's back up a little bit. Where did you grow up and how did you get into tourism PR? How did it all start?
I was born and brought up in a place called Bangalore, which I think people are familiar with because it's the Silicon city of India, as it were. So from a very cosmopolitan, Western upbringing, I was suddenly forced to move to a smaller town called Mysore because I was married at the age of 20. And then I became a mother very quickly at 21. And I continued my studies in spite of all of that because of my supportive in-laws and husband. And as I said, my first job was in a bank because this small town where I live called Mysore didn't have many job opportunities. So, but the bank job was interesting until I realized there was not much more I could learn. And that's when I started working for a Ayurveda center. It was run by this anesthesiologist who lived in the US. And from there, I got into the tourism industry. I think it was a good, strong foothold. And then went on to work with a resort and spa company for whom I set up a couple of spas across South India. So that gave me the confidence to venture out on my own, at which time I moved to Germany because my client base was huge there. And I thought that instead of them coming all the way, it would make sense for me to go and open a center there. So I had a little wellness center in Dusseldorf. But for a variety of reasons, I had to wind it up. It was beyond my control at that point of time. But I realized that I had a very good network. I had a lot of connections which I could put to good use. And that's when I got into working with state tourism boards.
And you mentioned as well that you're working with women in India working from home. So how does that work?
I think it was during the COVID time that I realized that a lot of the work which I was doing myself could easily be outsourced to someone sitting in any small town in India, like doing our spreadsheets and putting our databases together and all of that. And I thought it would be a good opportunity for women who don't really have those many chances to work. So we advertised on LinkedIn, and we got a couple of, we started with them as interns, and now they're all on our payroll, working with us remotely. We only, give them, like delegate work to them, and they're able to deliver. And I'm really happy with the results. So because I think the important thing is I've come this far in life, and I want other women to know that a small town is not a limiting factor. In fact, nothing is a limiting factor. So I just want to give back, because I've been really fortunate in having a very supportive family and husband and in-laws and my daughter. So I know that many Indian women don't really have that kind of support system. So it's easier for them to work from home wherever they are, without having, the pressure of having to go to office and all of that. So it was largely during COVID that I started working with all these women, and it's worked out really well for me. And
so
for them,
that's something you'll be continuing, is it?
Absolutely. And I think I just want to grow this more. And as at the moment, I'm not really taking on any more clients, because as you know, this is a very intense, and it's intensive, it's work intensive. I have to travel about 8 months of the year. So as and when I grow my company or scale it up, I just want to make sure that we bring more and more women on board.
Fantastic. You say you have to travel about 8 months of the year. How does that work? Is your family okay with that? Because I believe that in India, it's often quite difficult for ladies to do that sort of work. So how have you found that?
Well, initially it was very challenging, because I come from a family which is quite large, and they're but I have to say that it's been, I think I've been traveling from about 2006. Fortunately, my daughter's married and she lives overseas, so there's no pressure from that end. And my husband is completely understanding, and he knows that I will only be happy when I'm doing what gives me gratification. So he says, whatever it is that takes you, whatever makes you happy, just do it.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
I think we all need a supportive network, don't we?
Yes,
and it starts
absolutely.
at home.
And Caroline, I think that a lot of people that I counsel, when you're mentoring youngsters, they come to me saying, oh, we don't get leave, and we've not had holidays. So I tell them, in these past 25 years, I've never had a holiday. And that's a sacrifice you make if you want to really make it in your career and reach where you want to reach.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just have to make these small sacrifices, not worry about being there for every family event or being there for every major milestone, whether it's a birthday or anniversary. I think we just have to get out of this mindset and just have your blinkers on and focus on what it is that you want to achieve.
As long as you enjoy what you're doing, then it's not really work so much,
Absolutely.
is it?
So that's the important thing, where you make your work so enjoyable that you don't really want a holiday from it.
So it sounds like you've crafted this role for yourself. You've not taken what others have just given you. You've built it into something that works for you.
Yes, I think to a large extent, I have been able to do that. But once again, it's because of the entire support system which I have around me, which again, like I said, in India, it's really rare to find. But I think that is changing now. We see a lot of women entrepreneurs who are venturing out on their own, who are willing to take risks, who are just willing to put it out there and see what comes out of it. So I'm really happy to see this entire scenario changing. It's almost like a paradigm shift, where women were only confined to certain professions like beauty or banking, and now we're practically everywhere, from biotech to infotech to everything. You see women working, and it's just so completely gratifying.
Yes. So with all of that going on, with family and work and everything else, how do you balance and keep your own peace? I believe you're a published author, right? So that has something to do with it as well?
Yes. I actually started my meditation practice way back in 2003. And strangely enough, my guru was a British gentleman called David Aitken. He initiated me into transcendental meditation. And I think my spiritual practice really has given me the equanimity and gives me a sense of balance, a sense of just having it together, not losing my cool at any point of time, dealing with stressful situations. It's just, I just find that everything I can manage well because of my meditation and my spiritual practice.
Do you have a daily routine that helps you through?
Yes. 20 minutes of meditation in the morning and about 20 minutes of chanting in the evening. And this happens regardless of where I am in the world because I don't need any specialized equipment. It's just all within me. But it's just that it gives me the ability to just go inward and focus and recalibrate and just find my core.
It's that mindset, isn't it? It doesn't matter where you are in the world. If you're set on doing something that works
Right.
for you, then
True.
you can maintain that.
True.
And 8 months of the year, where are you traveling?
So primarily we do roadshows for our clients across the US, UK, Europe, Australia, the Middle East, and China before the whole COVID situation happened. And I attend all the major trade shows like WTM, ITB, FITUR. So which happens practically, every month there's a big event happening somewhere in the world. So right now I'm prepping for FITUR, which happens in Spain. Soon after that, we have ITB, which is the biggest event, which happens in Berlin. And then after that, we have MITT, which is in Russia. So this is how my year goes by. I think the milestones are all the trade shows.
And you mentioned that you were at WTM this year. How was that?
WTM this year was extremely positive. We really didn't know what to expect because for 2 years we were completely out of the scene. We didn't know what was happening in the tourism business. And we went with trepidation because I was handling 2 major Indian states. But I can say safely that we had possibly the best meetings ever. And I've been going to WTM since 2005. There was a renewed interest, a renewed vigor, a renewed passion that you could see in everyone who was coming for meetings. And, anyone who was even walking around in the show just was so excited that travel was opening up and that things are looking better.
Yeah, we can only hope that it continues through 2022, can't we?
Yes.
So who has inspired you? Who inspired you in the early days to actually break free from that banking environment and that traditional structure? Where did you get your inspiration from?
I think to a large extent, Oprah. I know this is just such a, cliched answer, but Oprah was at that time a major influence in India. We would watch her show religiously, and I just saw what she was doing for women. And somehow it was always at the back of my mind that when she said, go out on your own, just take a risk, just, find opportunities for yourself. And I think I somehow imbibed that. And I felt that if one does not take risks, then nothing is really gained. And giving up a very secure banking career was something that everyone was really worried about. They were, thinking it's a small town. What other opportunities will you get? Don't throw it up. But then I was sure that something will come. And fortunately for me, it was a fantastic opportunity where I got into the whole line of yoga and spirituality. And I think that's where my actual growth started.
Sometimes we actually have to close doors before the next one opens.
True. So absolutely true.
And where are you based these days?
At the moment, I'm based in Dubai simply because it's just so much easier to travel, whether it's to Europe or UK or the US, given that we have to do a variety of tests every time we have to travel. So yes. Dubai is working well for me at the moment. So I think I'm going to be based there for the next couple of years.
Okay. And who has inspired, who's continued to inspire you on your journey?
Well, I really don't have an answer to that, except that I think it's every average Indian woman who I look at and who I see are facing challenges every day. And I somehow feel that if I could break, out of the mold, then it's possibly an opportunity for them as well. So I derive inspiration from the common people that I see in India, especially the women. I mean, the kind of hardships they face, the kind of situations they find themselves in. I derive tremendous inspiration from that.
Do you have any plans to drive that further?
At the moment, I'm also doing a lot of work with an NGO which I have founded, which helps women and especially the marginalized women in the smaller villages of India, where we are asking them to do handicraft and artwork, which we then put out, and then we give them a major share of the profits, and we just act as middlemen or agents for them. But even just one artwork that they produce can give them enough money to keep their families going for a month.
Where are you promoting that?
So this is all across India. We're doing this through a foundation called the Sri Chakra Yantra Foundation, which I'm the founder director of. And how it works is that we have a website, and people from all over the world can just go and buy these spiritual products. And it is very clear that we are not taking a single penny out of the profits. It all percolates down to the people who are actually making it. So these are very specific products for which we have, guidelines, and they make it according to our requirements.
Okay, fascinating. What's the future hold for you?
I'm always so excited about what's to come, even though one really doesn't know. I think the uncertainty of it is also the beauty of it. And I think I'm 52 now, so I don't see myself working for very long with the kind of pressure that we work under in tourism. So for example, at WTM, what happened was just a couple of days before the event was to start, one of our partners couldn't show up because the rules have changed in the UK with the visas and all of that within the EU. So yes. At that time, the stress was so intense that I felt, okay, I think it's time to just wind up this business and just stick with my spirituality. But then I think when the event went really well and we got a lot of praise and, the validation from the clients, it just got all erased. All the stress just got wiped away. So I really don't know. I'm just going to take it as it comes, go with the flow, and just enjoy myself and be happy and cheerful and also make a difference. And Caroline, I think what really gives me joy in working with tourism is that, number one, I'm able to project my country in a way in which it appears positive, and definitely there is a lot of positivity in India. So, but a lot of times that gets covered because of media, biases and prejudices. So I get this opportunity to clear that veil, as it were, and to showcase an India which is absolutely beautiful. It's ancient, it's modern, it's historic, yet, it's urban, all of that. So, and I think the difference that it makes to women and children and the people who live in the small villages, tourism makes a lot of difference to them eventually, because when visitors come, they buy handicrafts, so they stay in a homestay. So all of this actually helps promote the economy and help the marginalized and the people who really need that kind of support, and who are not too economically strong. So that's what gives me the gratification at the end of the day, because people understand tourism as something which only the rich do. Yes, sure, maybe you reach out to the wealthy audiences, but once they come to India, they're spending money which will eventually reach the poorest of the poor, or will help in the infrastructure and the development of this country. So that's something I'm really excited about for tourism.
Well, it sounds like you still have a lot of energy left and a lot left to give. So as we round this up then, one last question. Thinking of the younger generation of girls coming up in India, if they're interested in getting into tourism, what's some advice that you could give them?
I think in India, it's really, really important to have a quality education. A lot of times we compromise on the education. So I would recommend rather that you just pay attention to your education, study with good institutions, get that degree, whether it's a hotel management degree or a tourism management degree, because it certainly does give you the platform to then embark upon a journey which is far more fulfilling. Mm-hmm. And then also to just be patient, because once you have that degree or once you have the qualification, it's not that you can make it to WTM the next year. And that's what a lot of people come with the expectation of, that being in tourism means I get to see the world. For that you have to be patient, wait a couple of years, just keep learning, keep studying your subject, understand the dynamics of how this industry works. And I think most important, networking.
Mm-hmm. So three things there. You've got the education, you've got patience and keep learning, and networking. Right.
And also I think one should have pride in being Indian or being whatever your nationality is. Just wear it on your sleeve unabashedly and just be who you are. You don't really need to change yourself. You don't need to put on an accent. You don't need to be anyone else. I think just being you is the most important thing. And I see that in India a lot, where everyone wants to, be very westernized, and they somehow feel that, wearing Indian clothes or looking Indian is not so cool. I would just say that for every country in the world, there is a certain degree of respect which goes with just being who you are and sticking to your roots, while keeping your awareness open and allowing influences from everywhere.
I think that's a fantastic note to end on. Thank you very much for that. And hopefully we'll meet face to face at one of these trade shows one of these days soon.
I will look forward to that, Caroline. Thank you for this opportunity. And it was wonderful chatting with you.
Lovely to chat to you too. Thank you so much.
Namaste.